Machine translation. What is a machine translation and how does it work? Machine translation, or MT, or robotized interpretation, is a simple procedure when a computer software translates texts from one language to another without human contribution. At its fundamental level, machine translation performs a straightforward replacement of atomic words in a single characteristic language for words in another. Using corpus methods, more complicated translations can be conducted, taking into account better treatment of contrasts in phonetic typology, express acknowledgement, and translation of idioms, just as the seclusion of oddities. Currently, some systems are not able to perform just like a human translator, but in the coming future, it will also be possible. In simple language, we can say that machine translation works by using computer software to translate the text from one source language to another target language. There are different types of machine translation. The four major types of machine translations are: the first one is the statistical machine translation, or SMT. The statistical machine translation works by alluding to statistical models that depend on the investigation of huge volumes of bilingual content. It expects it expects to decide the corresponding or the correspondence between a word from the source language and the word from the object language. A genuine illustration of this is the Google Translate. Presently, SMT is extraordinary for basic translation. However, its most noteworthy disadvantage is that it doesn't factor in context, which implies translation can regularly be wrong. Or you can say, don't expect great quality in the translation. There are several types of statistical based machine translation models, which are hierarchical phrase based translation, syntax based translation, phrase based translation, and word based translation. We then have the rule based translation, or RBMT. RBMT basically translates the basics of grammatical rules. It directs grammatical examination of the source language and the objective language to create the translated sentence. But RBMT requires broad editing, and it's substantially reliant on dictionaries, which implies that the proficiency is accomplished after a significant time period. Hence, it is not as fast as the SMT. Then we have the hybrid machine translation, or HMT. HMT, as the term demonstrates, it's a mix of the two earlier models, that is RBMT and SMT. It uses a translation memory, making it unquestionably more successful regarding quality. Nevertheless, even HMT has a lot of downsides, the biggest of which is the requirement for enormous editing, and human translations will also be needed. There are several approaches to HMT, like multi-engine, statistical rule generation, multipass, and confidence-based. Then we come to the neural machine translation or NMT. NMT is a type of machine translation that relies upon neural network models based on human brain to build statistical models with the end goal of translation. The essential advantage of NMT is that it gives a solitary system that can be prepared to unravel the source and the target text. Subsequently, it does not rely upon specific systems that are regular to other machine translation systems, especially the SMT. What are the benefits of machine translation? One of the crucial benefits of machine translation is the speed. As you have noticed that computer programs can translate a huge amount of text rapidly. Yes, the human translator does their work more accurately, but they cannot match the speed of a computer. Hence, the speed with which the translation takes place is one of the crucial benefits of machine translation. If you especially train the machine to your requirements, machine translation gives the ideal blend of brisk and cost-effective translation, as it is less expensive than using a human translator. The specifically trained machine, a machine translation can catch the settings of full sentences before translating them, which gives you high quality and human sounding yield. Another benefit of machine translation is its capability to learn important words and reuse them wherever they might fit. Applications of machine translation. Machine translation technology and products have been used in numerous application situations. For example, business travel, the travel industry, and so on. In terms of object of translation, there are composed they are composed of language-oriented content text translation and spoken language. Text translation. Automated text translation is broadly used in an assortment of sentence level and text level translation applications. Sentence level translation applications incorporate the translation of inquiry and recovery inputs and the translation of outcomes of picture, optical character acknowledgement. Text level translation application incorporates the translation of a wide range of unadulterated reports and the translation of archives with organized data. The organized data mostly incorporates the presentation, configuration of text content, object type activity, and other data. For example, textual styles, colors, tables, structures, hyperlinks, and so on. Presently, the translation objects of machine translation systems are mostly found on the sentence levels. Most importantly, a sentence can complete, completely communicate a subject substance, which normally frames an articulation unit, and the significance of each word in the sentence can be resolved to an enormous degree as per the restricted setting inside the sentence. Also, the methods and nature of getting the data at the sentence level, granularity from the preparation corpus are more effective than that dependent on other morphological levels. For example, words, expressions, and text passages. Finally, the translations depend on sentence level, depending on sentence level, can be normally reached out to help translations at the morphological level. Speech translation. With the fast advancement of mobile applications, voice input has become an advantageous method of human computer cooperation, and the disclosure translation has become a significant application situation. The fundamental cycle of discourse interpretation is the source language discourse, source language text, target language text, target language discourse. In this cycle, programmed text translation from source language text to target language text is an important moderate module. What's more, the front end and the back end likewise need programmed discourse recognition ASR and text to speech models. Let us see some of the other applications. Naturally, the task of machine translation is to change one source language word succession into another objective language word grouping, which is essentially the same. Generally, it finishes a grouping transformation task which changes over a succession object into another arrangement object, as indicated by some information and rationale through model and algorithms. All things considered, many undertaking situations total the change between grouping objects and the language in the machine translation task is just one of the succession object types. In this manner, when the idea of the source language and the target language are stretched out from dialects to other arrangement object types, machine translation strategies and techniques can be applied to settle numerous comparable change undertakings. Machine translation versus human translation. Machine translation hits that sweet spot of cost and speed, offering a truly snappy path for brands to translate their records at scale without much overhead. Yet, that doesn't mean it's consistently relevant. On the other hand, human translation is incredible for those undertaking that require additional consideration and subtlety. Talented translators work on your image's substance to catch the first importance and pass on that feeling or message basically in another assortment of work. Learning upon how much content should be translated, the machine translation can give translated content very quickly. Though human translators will take additional time, time spent finding, verifying, and dealing with a group of translators should likewise be considered. Numerous translation programming providers can give machine translation at practically zero cost, making it a reasonable answer for organizations who will be unable to manage the cost of expert translations. Machine translation is the instant modification of text from one language to another utilizing artificial intelligence, whereas human translation includes actual brain power in the form of one or more translators translating the text manually. In conclusion, machine translation is mainly an equipment that assists marketeers or translators to accomplish a motive. However, it is not a replacement for the old system of translation. Instead, it is just a modification. Many machine based translators considerably offer their services free of charge, making them much more alluring, especially to organizations and learners. Machine translators analyze the structure of the first content at that point, separate this content into single words or short expressions that can be easily translated. At last, they reconstruct those single words or short expressions using the very same structure in the picked target language.